Okay, it looks like we're live. Is that true, Christine?
Yes, you're now live on YouTube.
Great.
Good to go.
Thank you. I will call to order the August 5th meeting of the Quality of Life Committee at about 5:01 p.m. If we could do a roll call, Jennifer, for attendance.
Of course. Just 1 second.
No worries.
Okay, Councilor Rivera.
Here.
Councilor Cassett Sanchez.
Here.
Councilor Garcia.
Present.
Councilwoman Villarreal.
Present.
And Councilor Romero-Worth.
I am here. So
And
we have a quorum. Great. Do we have changes to the agenda tonight? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilor Rivera, a second from Councilor Cassett Sanchez. If we could take the roll on the approval of the agenda, that'd be great.
Councilor Chris Rivera.
Yes.
Councilor Jamie Cassett Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilor Michael Garcia.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renee Villarreal.
Yes.
And Councilor Carol Romero-Worth.
Yes. So that motion passes. We are on to changes to the consent agenda. Is there anything that councilors would like to hear? All right, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilor Cassett Sanchez, a second by Councilor Garcia. Can we take the roll on approving the consent agenda?
Yes. Councilor Jamie Cassett Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilor Michael Garcia.
Yes.
Councilor Chris Rivera.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renee Villarreal.
Yes.
And Councilor Carol Romero-Worth.
Yes. So we have approval of the consent agenda. If we can go to approval of the minutes. Are there changes or is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes, Madam Chair.
Second.
So we have a motion by Councilor Garcia, a second by Councilor Cassett Sanchez. If we could take the roll on approval of the minutes from the July 15th meeting. Thank you.
Sure. Councilor Michael Garcia.
Yeah.
Councilor Jamie Cassett Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renee Villarreal.
Yes.
Councilor Chris Rivera.
Again, these are not approval of minutes, but really approval of how we voted during the meeting. So if that's what we're approving, then yes.
Yes. Okay. We are now on to the presentation item from the Environmental Services Division, Environmental Programs Presentation, Implementation of the Sustainable Santa Fe 25-Year Plan and Status of Grants Projects for Keep Santa Fe Beautiful. I had asked Charlene, who I believe is with us. There you are. I just found you on my screen. I wanted to hear about, you know, some of the good work that's going on at the city that we don't often have a chance to take the time to showcase. And I asked Charlene to come and bring her staff with us, and Carol Branch, thank you for coming as well, and Neil. And just to hear, you know, all the hard work that you guys are doing around sustainability. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, Charlene, and you guys can kind of walk us through what you have tonight.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. Thanks for inviting us to come and giving us the chance to talk about all the great programs we're doing that you don't always require a council action or, have a high spending amount. Most of them don't. So we're really excited to have the chance to be able to talk about our programs. So for tonight, we have a few things lined up to kind of set the stage, but we also have ideas for future presentations for things that you might be interested in. So first, we're going to hear from Carol Branch, and she's our Environmental Programs Manager and Access at Keep Santa Fe Beautiful Executive Director. And we're also going to hear from Neil Denton. He's our Sustainability Planner. We put together a PowerPoint for you, and we've got a video, and I practiced all afternoon, but this is the first time I've run a PowerPoint during a Zoom meeting, so I hope it comes off without a hitch. Please bear with me. May I be allowed to share my screen? Am I good for that? It says just
Absolutely. And I do you need something from my end, or hopefully you can just do
someone,
that?
whoever's in charge. If you're in charge of the Zoom meeting, Madam Chair, you'll have to allow other people to share the screen. If you'll click share screen and then allow multiple screen sharing.
We didn't rehearse this part. Let's see.
Sorry, maybe I should have reached out to you too.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
Do you see share screen at the bottom of your?
Yes. Oh, there we go.
Click it and then click
Okay.
allow multiple or something to that effect.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I have two screens and I may have to do some arranging once this goes live. Okay, do you see the quality of life committee slide?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yay, working so far. All right, well, I've already introduced myself and the members of my team that are going to be, there we go, that are going to be speaking. So I got a little ahead of myself. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Carol Branch. She heads up our Keep Santa Fe Beautiful team. She's over graffiti and just general outreach. And I want to be sure that everyone understands that Keep Santa Fe Beautiful is a public-private relationship or nonprofit relationship. And grants are really the major funding bucket for Santa Fe Beautiful. And the city of Santa Fe is the fiscal agent for expending these grants. So for tonight, she's just prepared information about what the grants programs were for FY20 and what they'll be for FY21. So with that, Carol, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Madam Chair and members of the committee, again, we thank you for this invitation tonight to share a little bit of what we're up to. So Keep Santa Fe Beautiful has been rebuilding this last year and a half. We have a new and enthusiastic board of directors. We are in the process of rebuilding our new website, and this includes our new logo, which we showcased here tonight, which we're really proud of. We also have a new mission, which is leading the community to keep Santa Fe clean, green, and beautiful, and a new vision, which is a community of inspired, active, and passionate stewards of our beautiful city. So again, like Charlene said, I'm going to focus on our latest grants that we have. So for 2020, we were given a grant from the New Mexico Tourism Clean and Beautiful program. We were given $44,500, and this went towards our entryway sign. As you can see, Mayor Weber at the ribbon cutting, we were only allowed 10 people, so someday we'll have a big celebration. And Joe did a wonderful little video, and it was on a few of the TV stations, so we're very proud of that. And we are in the process of raising private funding to beautify the entire area of the sign, which will include solar lighting to light it up at night and just making it beautiful. We also received a grant for $5,000 from Keep America Beautiful, which was for a campaign for cigarette butts and also for cigarette urns around the city. And we spent many hours collecting cigarette butts and counting them. So we counted about 1,200 to determine where the cigarette urns should be placed. And so we installed 24 beautiful cigarette urns. And also we did a campaign for awareness, and which was done on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. And we did get a shout out of the New Mexican, so we're proud of that. And for grants for 2021, so far we've received a grant again from the New Mexico Tourism Clean and Beautiful Department for 22.5. And this is for a few projects. One is for an anti-graffiti mural project, which will, we already have the location picked out. It's this huge wall near Las Acequias Park. And we have a local artist who's going to donate his time. And we have 3 different youth groups that are going to be doing the painting. And the mural will be to promote community awareness and activeness. So we're proud of that. We were also given $15,000 for, let's see, for permanent landscaping for medians on the south side of Cerrillos. So we hope to do 3 or 4 beautiful, redo them to promote. We want them to be an example of how sustainable, beautiful, and cohesive medians can look. And so this is not a part of our Adopt a Median program, but again, this will be a gift to the city, and we hope to do more and more medians, even if we have to do them 3 by 3 on the south side of Cerrillos Road. And we will do the planting in the spring of 2021. So we're really excited about that. And we were also given $5,000 for supplies for our neighborhood litter cleanups and promotions. And
Carol, if I could just stop you for a moment. Councilor Rivera has his hand raised, and don't want you to get too far in. I have a feeling you've got a question about what you're saying.
My question's in general, so we can finish the presentation and then I'll ask the general question at the end, if that's okay, Madam Chair.
Okay, just didn't want to miss an opportunity there. Councilor Villarreal, did you want to wait as well?
Same for me for this particular section of the report. Thanks.
Okay, terrific. So go ahead, Carol, sorry.
okay, so I was pretty much done. I just wanted to say that we will come back next time we're invited with a full report on the Adopt a Median program. And we will have at least 8 before and after photos of medians that the program is overhauling. So we'll explain that on our next meeting. I stand for questions.
All right, did councilors want to ask questions of this presentation or wait until?
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I'll ask my question now, and
Okay, great.
we'll see how it goes. But Carol, I've spoken to you about this before, but if you could just explain to the committee, if we had somebody adopt a median, let's say on Cerrillos Road, and they put in $10,000 or even $1,000 just to fix up the median, and then a new subdivision was coming in and the city decided to wipe out the median completely, what is done to help the person that initially did the work on the median that they adopted?
Well, Counselor, that was about to take place, and I know you're referring to Mark Basham And that happened to him. That was years and years ago, probably 10 years ago, when the city changed the road, and he has given us a lot of feedback about that. He said first he put in $10,000. The median wasn't very big, and you saw in the paper he said now he put in $20,000. So he decided to get out of the program, and but that was going to take place. There was another small median on near the downtown area that where the road was going to change, and Keep Santa Fe Beautiful was willing to help them. We were going to help remove their plants and their rocks, and then anything that was destroyed, Keep Santa Fe Beautiful, the nonprofit, was going to help them rebuild that. So that's as far as we've come up with a plan to.
May I jump in here, though? Councilor Rivera, it's very clear in the former contract and the new contract that the whole purpose of the adopt-a median is to be a good steward and support the city. It's very clear in the contract that anything the adopter puts into the median becomes the property of the city. So from a legal standpoint, it's very cut and dried. It wouldn't make sense to even have an adopt-a median program if people adopted a median, put money into it, and then expected it back. It would break the city. I mean, there's not funding for that. So the whole reason to have the program is to get that support.
Well, thanks, Charlene. But on the other side, it doesn't make any sense to adopt a median if at any time the city can wipe it all out and you're basically out of everything you poured into it.
Thank you.
And the reason I'm asking this, I know Mr. Basham did contact me, but really the reason is there are several places here on Airport Road that we're looking at new subdivisions going in, and they're thinking about creating a larger turn-in section. So it's going to wipe out quite a bit of median from what's there. And I don't know if anyone's adopted it yet, but this is a problem. I mean, it doesn't make, like I said, any sense to adopt a median if at any time the city's just gonna or can do away with it for a new subdivision going in, and we're not doing anything to help.
Thank you, Councilor Rivera. We'll certainly take that feedback and look what we can do to balance the two issues. I will say that there's not likely to be any adopted medians on Airport Road because we have localized the program, and it was an octopus in order to get it under control. There's only certain medians that'll be up for adoption, and so we'll certainly take that feedback into account and make sure that we don't run into that situation, or that we have a plan laid out in case that happens.
And if any changes need to be made to the ordinance, let me know. I'd be happy to sponsor any changes and see what the rest of the governing body thinks.
Thank you, Councilor Rivera.
Okay, we have other counselors with questions. I'm not sure in what order they arrived, so I'm just going to go down the list. Councilor Villarreal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to the team that's presenting to us. I'm just glad to hear that these specific grants that you mentioned were able to go towards projects that we've been trying to work on. So the fact that you were able to get the New Mexico Tourism Clean Grant to be able to finish the entryway project is good to hear. I know there was some delay in that, and I actually think it looks good. And as we raise more money, the fact that you said the vegetation and beautifying and solarizing the lighting would be the next step. So I appreciate hearing about that. And I knew about the cigarette public awareness, but I'm curious where you all ended up placing them after your research.
Well, they went to about 6 different parks in the city, and So I'm at home and I don't have the list, but a lot in the downtown area and I think some parks on the south side.
Excellent. I'd love to know specifics when you all have that.
Okay, I'll send it to you. I'll send you exactly where they went up.
Just to know like where are hot spots for cigarette smoking. But
Carol, if you wouldn't mind providing that to the committee, or if you can provide it to Jennifer, Jennifer Fabian, she can get it out to all the members.
Okay, will do.
And for the 2021 projects you listed, I'm excited to hear about the graffiti mural project for Las Acequias Park. And I was curious if you could tell us more about the artist that was picked and the different youth groups, like how that would be organized.
So the artist is John Paul Granillo, and and the youth groups will be one that he sponsors for one, the master's program that I work with, and then I believe I can't think of the third one, but we have a different array of youth groups that'll be working on it.
And because of COVID, how are they? I know I've seen it happen actually, to do murals and be able to do social distance murals. So is that what they're planning for the spring, or when is the time frame for that project?
Well, John Paul is now working on the drawings. And so we were just kind of waiting to see what the governor recommends. And so we have a year to do the mural. So we'll try to find the best time when we can utilize the work of the youth groups.
Excellent. That's a good choice. John Paul does a lot of community work with youth, and I'm glad to hear he was going to be the lead artist for that. The other question I had, so when you were talking about the median support, the landscaping, was this in response to how maybe some of the medians are not getting the attention they need? And how did you prioritize like where to focus on the landscaping projects?
Well, it seems that the ones that the medians that get most of the negative attention are on South Cerrillos. And so we're working with Parks Department, and we're working with also the group that did the study, the volunteers that did the study on weeds. And so we're all going to collaborate and to come up with, well, I think we already have some designs in the city. And so we are working with all them, and we haven't picked out the exact three, but somewhere in the neighborhood of Cerrillos, like between Vegas Verdes and Airport. And we hope to do 3 large ones.
3 large stretches of area?
3 large medians.
Okay. Large as in length or large as in width, or both?
Length.
Okay, great. And then the other question I had about the cleanup, I was disappointed we couldn't do the cleanup this spring. And I'm curious what the plans are for the fall, and if there's a way to still do cleanups in a social distance manner, because typically in my neighborhood, there's only a few of us anyway. And so I'm wondering how you all maybe are considering that for the fall, if at all.
Oh, yes. So we are on it. We are, I have a new board member who was able to get us a copy of all the neighborhood associations and contacts. So we are today even building a database, and we are going to provide gloves, and because we can't have the huge gathering, it does take a lot of people to arrange the regular Toss No Moss or Great American Cleanup. So we are just reaching out to them. We are going to provide bags and gloves for their cleanups, and so they can pick them up at our office. And then we have 2 weekends, September I think it's 18th would be our regular Toss-No-Mas Day, and then we're going to extend it toward the next week. And so they're going to have to bring their own garbage, but we are going to have big bins at the Siler offices, and they can come and bring their garbage there. And then we will take it to Bert and weigh it and such and dispose of it.
Excellent. My neighborhood doesn't have an association, so maybe you all can look at the past lists of participants for Toss-No-Mas.
Oh, definitely.
Great. Excellent. Thanks for the info and congratulations on these projects.
Thank you. We're excited about them.
Me too.
Okay, Councilor Garcia, you're next on my list.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A lot of the comments I had were already stated by my colleagues, but I do got a question in regards to the Santa Fe sign. Is there plans for a similar sign to, or resources to be applied for a sign to be installed on the south side?
So we were fortunate to get such a huge grant from the tourism department. And so we would have to reapply it. And what we found out was it cost a lot more than what we imagined. And so we'll see how it goes.
Councilor Garcia, if I may jump in, when this was first conceived, and it was years ago, before I was here and when Gilda Montano was still in Keep Santa Fe Beautiful, this has been a very long project. There were 3 roads that were identified as entryways for the signs, and there was resistance and issues, and at the end of the day, this sign at this location is what Keep Santa Fe Beautiful could pull off. And so the short answer is no, there aren't plans. There is in existence the other identified areas and certainly the plans for the sign. And so it's a possibility, but it's not actually something that's planned or budgeted for right now. But if anyone wants to jump in and help raise the funds, we don't expect we'll get more funds from the state for the sign. But if you have ideas about fundraising and getting over the other hurdles, there's certainly the possibility exists. Carol, are you okay with that?
Yes, we did get resistance when we were taking measurements in other areas of town. We did have neighborhood associations call us and tell us that they would fight any sign that we would desire to put up in their neighborhood. And so on the north end of town, all we had to fight was the prairie dogs. So that was the easiest choice.
Well, I thank you for the context and background information. And I would be, as somebody who lives more on the south end of town, a bit jealous that there's not a beautiful sign like there is on the north end of town, because it is a beautiful sign, and I do. I'm looking forward to the landscaping and the lights, and I think it's something that just helps to promote our great city. And if we can look at, and I'm happy to strategize how we might be able to fundraise for a south side sign. I'm thinking as folks get off of I-25 onto Cerritos Road, there's not much neighborhoods around there that might put up resistance. I think we want to be able to promote our city on a holistic value. And when I saw the sign, I was definitely thankful that for the work to obtain the resources. And that's why I asked if we can look at getting more resources for not only one sign, but additional signs. And it sounds like there was that thought, and it's unfortunate to hear there was some resistance. And maybe now that folks see what is in place, maybe that might change minds. But thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on all the resources you've been able to successfully attain.
Thank
That's
you.
all I have, Madam Chair.
You can reach out to me anytime, Counselor.
Okay.
Great. Counselor Cassett Sanchez, you have your hand raised.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you for being here, for presenting and giving us these updates. I just had a quick question about the medians. Will there be kind of the same question, will there be opportunities to expand this program so that we can really be looking at a variety of medians across the city? I think that looking at South Cerrillos is a very good idea, but I also know some other medians that could use this sustainable landscaping. And if you can talk a little bit more about, is this like the zero-scaping where it's going to be easier maintenance? Is that the idea behind it as well?
Right. So again, it's two different programs. The Adopt a Median program, when I took this position, was really out of control. We were able to, Charlene and I and park staff worked a year to clean up the program. Our intent was never to grow it because we have a tiny staff and it is extremely time consuming. So our area is concentrated on the downtown area and on Old Pecos Trail. And so like I said, we're going to readopt those ones out that were given up and then just stop there while we're ahead, because it is so time consuming to be on top of this program. And then again, the grant that I applied for improvement on medians on the south side was to make them cohesive and sustainable and beautiful and easy to maintain for our park staff. We hope to perhaps have businesses sponsor them so that we have some private funding going into maintaining them. But if that doesn't go off, at least then the park staff will have easy, beautiful medians to maintain. And like I said, we won't stop. We'll do 2 or 3 at a time until that area is taken care of. But again, we are a tiny staff, so we hope to have more help with that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think that it's helpful to almost be looking at these pilot programs and ways that we can be creating more efficiency with our median maintenance by creating those types of sustainable landscapes. So thank you so much. That's all I have for the moment.
Okay, great. I think we have gotten through all the questions. If you all want to continue, that'd be great.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So next we'll hear from Neil Denton. He's our sustainability planner. He's working on implementing the Sustainable Santa Fe 25-year plan and the council resolutions also that have to do with sustainability. He of course, and all of us, we work in partnership with all the great city staff across the city that are working on these programs. And implementing the Sustainable Santa Fe 25-year plan is certainly not a one-person job. So we have an interdepartmental staff called the Core 40, and that stands for Carbon Offset Reduction and Elimination by 2040. And I credit Shannon Jones with coming up with that acronym. I think it's terrific. And so that's our internal team, and Neil helps to coordinate that. We have occasional meetings and we have some things going on right now. But today he's going to give you an update on our LEED certification and a couple other things. And with that, I'll hand it over to Neil, if you're there.
Yes,
Can you
Madam
repeat
Chair.
that? Hey, Neil or Charlene, can you repeat the acronym again?
It's CORE, C-O-R-E 40. And that's Carbon Offset Reduction and Elimination by 2040.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, yes, there's lots to talk about what the city is up to in the realm of sustainability and implementing the 91 strategies in the Sustainable Santa Fe plan. So today we just wanted to go over a couple items that we've been working on for the last year in terms of baselining, data gathering, and making it so, you can't improve what you don't measure. As we move forward on implementing these strategies, we want to be able to track our path to success. And then I'm going to go over a recent grant we've received from NMED. So hopefully you saw the news that we were the second city in the world to obtain LEED Gold certification under the newest, more stringent rating system. LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. You may be familiar with it from building certifications. Our convention center is LEED Gold certified. The U.S. Green Building Council that offers that certification has recently expanded it to a program called LEED for Cities and Communities. And we were lucky enough to be awarded a grant in 2014. We were selected as one of 15 cities to be one of the initial participants in this program. Essentially, we're beta testers. Albuquerque happened to be another one of those cities. And so this has been a year-long effort. Since May of last year, we've been collaborating with the Core 40 team, gathering information about almost everything the city has done in the realm of sustainability, and establishing that as a baseline. And this is really helpful in providing a detailed gap analysis, also for letting us know what we aren't doing. The credits that are in this system are based on what has worked and what is tried and true in implementing sustainability strategies. So this really accompanies our Sustainable Santa Fe plan as a way of, one, really getting into the weeds to go along with the wide overarching goals of the Sustainable Santa Fe plan, such as carbon neutrality, and give us quantifiable metrics to help us move forward and track our success as we move along. So when I say we're second in the world, it's just us in Orlando, Florida. So far, we were the fourth of that group of 15 to certify. This is a worldwide certification program. And when I say the newest rating system, this is the first time there's really credits. Before, people were able to certify based on their performance. For example, vehicle miles traveled, just data gathering. But this is where we get credits for things like civic and community engagement. So, this is really the more robust, more stringent rating system, and put us on the global map as one of the most sustainable cities around. So hopefully you heard the news. We did a press conference in June with Mayor Weber and Bank of America, who provided that grant for us, and the U.S. Green Building Council CEO. It was attended by the New Mexican and the Journal and various radio stations. We got some coverage on the radio and trade publications of that news. Next slide, please. So this certification criteria, well, the certification applies to these sectors: natural systems and ecology, transportation and land use, water efficiency, energy and greenhouse gas emissions, materials and resources, which is solid waste, trash and recycling, quality of life, and then innovation and regional priority. Those last two, innovation is basically proposing something that they didn't contemplate in their system, and regional priority is doing things that are relevant to your region, such as water conservation in the desert Southwest. And we got all the points for innovation and regional priority, and our highest scoring categories were natural systems and ecology, and energy and greenhouse gas emissions. We actually got a perfect score in the greenhouse gas emissions performance. Next slide, please. So another way that this is very helpful is we will apply for recertification in 5 years. At least we certainly hope to. And so we have a pathway for what we should do in the next 5 years to move from gold up into platinum. There are very specific things we want to consider, such as establishing a commission on human rights. Another item that would get us a credit is demonstrating that 60% of households spend less than 45% in transportation. And I also just wanted to add, I presented at a webinar a couple weeks ago with the U.S. Green Building Council on this, over 100 attendees from around the world. It was actually a specific focus on sense of place, cultural identity, and sustainability, how our cultural identity in Santa Fe influences our sustainability efforts. And lastly, just want to make sure it's clear that this pertains to everything within the city limits. This is not city facilities and operation. This is somebody chooses to start riding their bicycle instead of drive their car, and their daily miles traveled goes down. Then we see that reflected in our level of certification. Next slide, please. I wanted to point out, as in the interest of baselining, that we have done an analysis of the greenhouse gas emissions from city operations, with the most recent data available from 2018. So as we move forward on implementing additional solar and energy efficiency improvements, water improvements, we'll be able to track the downward trend in our greenhouse gas emissions from this inventory. We used a tried and true calculator by ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability. They're a worldwide, one of the leaders in sustainability worldwide. And the calculator is based on well-defined standards. So we just yesterday, this is hot off the press, you may have seen we did a survey of our employee driving habits. We've added the employee commute in there. You can see that's 5% of our total carbon footprint. The only thing that this does not yet include is solid waste from our facilities. That data is hard to gather because the trucks that collect the solid waste don't only collect from those facilities. So we would have to do an audit to get those numbers. We intend to do that, but it's a heavy lift, so we're not there yet. So what you see is the lion's share of our greenhouse gas emissions are from water and wastewater, and most of that is water. And electricity is in that section. Since it is such a large part of a carbon footprint of a municipal operation, it's pulled out from what you see as building electricity. So you can think of building electricity there as other electricity. So water and wastewater includes electricity, natural gas, wastewater operations, and most of that is in the water part of that, and a lot of it is from the operation of BDD. We did correct our greenhouse gas emissions from BDD to only be the city's share. The county is doing their greenhouse gas inventory as well. So we'll be able to see their footprint. So going down, our second largest footprint in carbon intensity is our fleet, followed by building electricity, followed by gas, and then our employee commute. This other category is things like our composting operation at the wastewater facility. I lumped all of the small contributions together. One last thing about the greenhouse gas inventory is this tool offers us the opportunity to do forecasting scenarios. So I'm going to be able to present to you all a business as usual scenario showing greenhouse gas emissions going up if we did nothing. And then the downward trend that we can predict from implementing the sustainable Santa Fe strategies, and also the transition of the grid to renewable energy. Next slide, please. Lastly, just wanted to let you know we recently received a grant from NMED for 3 dual port electric vehicle charging stations. In Santa Fe, electric vehicles emit 75% less than their combustion power counterparts. And none of those emissions are from the tailpipes. As the grid transitions to renewable energy, they'll emit nothing. So this funding is approximately 50% of the estimated cost of those charging stations, and we can use a legislative appropriation to cover our cost share. They will be installed at the convention center garage, the Sandoval garage, and the rail yard garage. And I pointed out they're dual port charging stations, so they'll serve 2 parking spaces at each of those locations. We intend to charge the public $1 per hour for the electricity. That's partially, we have an anti-donation clause, but also we have expenses related to maintenance and warranties and things like that. So that quantity is on par with what other municipalities are doing to cover expenses, and they can be used by our city fleet vehicles, and we can make it so the software does not charge a fee for the city fleet vehicles. Lastly, we want to share with you a short 1-minute video that's been developed by Hutton Broadcasting to showcase our leadership in the sustainability realm. we're really doing a lot of good stuff in our operations and our facilities, and we're trying to show that off and get some good news out there about what the city's up to. So
this video we developed with them, it was actually finished before the COVID crisis hit, but most of our advertising that was not COVID related was suspended. But this is designed to play on the Hutton screens you might see around town in restaurants or doctor's offices. That it will be forthcoming soon when our new, now that the budget's passed, which I'm sure you're all relieved about, and when we get our advertising and POs in place, then this should be coming soon, and crossing my fingers. Did the sound come through on that, everything?
no sound.
Oh, why didn't somebody speak up?
Well, I wasn't sure if it had sound and I didn't want to interrupt it.
It was just music. There wasn't
Yeah.
any speaking. I apologize. I could do it again if you want me to. I know what I know what I did wrong.
Sure,
But-
let's do it. Let's do it again.
Okay, I'm gonna have to stop sharing and reshare, so just bear with me for 1 minute.
All right.
Here we go again.
There we go.
I want to give a big shout out to Michaela Beggins, our outreach coordinator, who was the one driving the car there in her little cameo, who really worked with Hutton to put that beautiful video together.
Great. Are there questions on this portion from the committee? If there is, if we want to know more about the LEED Gold award and what went into achieving that recognition, is that on a website somewhere?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm glad you asked. That web link you see in front of you, santafeanm.gov/sustainability. We have a sub-page you can easily find once you land there that is an overview of the LEED certification, complete with a very detailed report for the people who want to learn about everything that went into it.
Okay, and the report is a PDF?
Yes.
Okay, good. I am interested in that. So I will look. Councilor Garcia, you have your hand raised.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to big thank you and shout out to everybody that worked tirelessly to get us that LEED Gold. I think that's such an amazing achievement. So hats off to you all. And it's great to hear that you're already looking forward to looking at achieving LEED Platinum. And so my question is, as you work towards that achievement, how can we help? I noticed that, or I heard you say that they're, develop something like Human Rights Commission. How can the governing body help achieve that platinum status?
Madam Chair, Councilor Garcia, I'm glad you asked. There are sections in that detailed report I mentioned called a roadmap to recertification. And so each of those items, for example, Commission on Human Rights we were talking about, is a substantial lift. So I guess I'll bounce the question back to you. We can present the strategies that we need to move forward to sustainability and have a discussion about what's more, which of those align more with your priorities. Before COVID, there was a discussion about us having a work session with all of you about the Sustainable Santa Fe plan and really digging in on the highest priorities followed by second priorities and so on. So we would like to have that discussion. Shirlene, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think you summed that up perfectly, Neil. The COVID and the budget crisis and all of that has taken up a lot of space in the last few weeks. But now that things are settled down, we're hoping to focus on the things we had originally planned to do this year, such as improving the internal recycling building program and gathering some of the information Neil mentioned earlier. We had planned to try to schedule with the city manager. We had discussed scheduling that work session just to talk about the Sustainable Santa Fe plan and what's it, highlight some of the things in it and what things that we're working on and we're prioritizing, based on several things. What is sometimes the low-hanging fruit? What is it that we can work on? What are grants available for? We're trying to focus on things like the council resolution for electrifying the city fleet. And Neil has done a ton of amazing work on that. So, we've got plenty to choose from, and we're prioritizing based on those things that we can do and what other city employees are working on that fall into the plan, and just provide whatever support we can to that. So in any way that you'd like us to present more information, that's kind of part of our exploratory presentation here to see how you'd like to go forward.
Okay, and as you work on the resolution to electrify the city's fleet, that's something that I'm very interested in. So if you need a sponsor or co-sponsor, I definitely would like to be involved in that.
Thank
Certainly,
you, Garcia. Oh, go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, I was just going to follow up with details, Madam Chair, Councilor Garcia. That there's a 2017 resolution directing us to electrify essentially the passenger cars, the non-emergency administrative fleet by 2025. We received $1 million from the legislature this year that was not clawed back to help with that, and We need to work out details with finance on how it's going to be spent. And after we have those details worked out, we look forward to presenting the plan to you.
Great. No further questions from me, Madam Chair, but thanks again and congratulations again on the great achievement.
All
Thank you.
right, Councilor Villarreal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the presentation and for the video. I like it. I was just curious when you were talking about the 91 strategies for our sustainability plan, how the implementation process is going to go and how COVID is restricting us or preventing us from moving forward with some of the implementation of those strategies.
Madam Chair, Councilor Villarreal, you know, a lot of the strategies have been checked off already. You know, the work across many departments is touching at least one strategy in each of the sections, somewhat in their routine work and somewhat in the in what they do above and beyond. You know, just for example, a strategy is to develop a drought management plan. Our water division has accomplished that when I checked in recently. So, you know, another example is to, you know, increase resiliency in local plans, and we've been working with the Office of Emergency Management to get some additional language in our hazard mitigation plan. So we look forward to reporting on the details of each of those. It's really, there's so much in there, like there's so much time that could go into each item. But to touch on COVID, you know, at first in March, a lifetime ago, it seemed like this might derail the work, you know, make it harder for public engagement and things like that. But now that we've adapted to communicating more through screens, in my opinion, we're actually touching more people, and our productivity may have actually gone up a little bit. You know, it's not quality communication, but the quantity has gone up in terms of, you know, for example, you know, shifting our implementation of that to the to lead more with people. We've been doing a lot of work I'd like to update you on at some point in that space. So of course it's disrupted all of our lives, but I would not say a substantial disruption or in the sustainability realm, with the exceptions like the Public Works Department has plans underway for moving forward on our investment grade audit recommendations to install a lot of solar energy efficiency improvement. I know that they've brought that forward, but the question mark is financing, you know, the interest of entities that do financing, whether they're banks or others.
If
Thank you.
I add a little bit of a layer to that, great response from Neil. It's been a blessing and a curse. I think there are many things that, because of the way we're communicating now and just by nature, like emergency management, it's actually opened the doors to working with people on some respects. But I would say what has limited us, or what may limit us, you know, in the end, it's funding and staffing. Not to speak for anyone, but one example, we have some good green building stuff that could be coming forward, but their staffing is very limited, and so there has to be, we have to find a balance between that. And if there's a way that the city council can help, it's looking at the, you know, where we're prioritizing that staffing and that funding based on what those ultimate goals are. And if they're meeting these sustainability goals, then, you know, maybe a fresh look at that at some point would be warranted.
Thank you for that clarity. So does that mean then for Catherine's old position that wasn't filled?
It was not funded.
It wasn't funded through the budget process.
So
Or that position was frozen, or was it eliminated?
No, none of our positions have been eliminated, Counselor, but some of them are just not funded.
Okay. And before Catherine left, what was the main projects that she was working on?
Well, the lead project really took a great deal of time, and she worked a lot on that. She was very interested in the social justice issues, part of the plan, which she really had a lot of expertise on. So Neil and I are trying to pick that up, and one of our future presentations will be about a current project we have about some equity training. That's he's leading in the Core 40. But those were her issues. And Neil, please feel free to fill in anything else.
Yeah, she had also started a project with the Santa Fe Masters program at the community college, in particular the film class, where they were really honing in on the on video projects and the personal feelings and impact around what's expected from our changing climate. We had, the students were working on the assignments. We had done some exercises with them and were engaged in the class, and then they were no longer able to meet in person, so that had to be postponed.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out what that would look like now and who is picking up the slack for a position that's frozen at the moment. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's important to look at that as we try to figure out this budget and how we're going to be doing into the future. So that'll be one of the areas that I'm interested in, and then moving forward with our sustainability goals. I think what would be helpful is actually listing off some of the things that have been accomplished, just so we have a good or a better idea of like what were some of those strategies and what has been completed, and in what division or department or wherever it was prioritized. So if that would be helpful for me, just to kind of see where we're at.
Madam Chair, Councilor Villarreal, I would like to present a line-by-line table of the strategies with columns for complete, underway, no progress yet, and comments for each of those. But as so many departments are working on each of those subjects, that analysis has to be conducted through that interdepartmental team, and it's a top priority at this time.
Excellent. Yep, I look forward to seeing that. Thank you. Thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
Great. Do we have other questions from counselors? I don't see anybody's hand. Charlene, did you have other things to share with us?
Not at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. Well, I think this has been a good opportunity to sort of dip our toe into your worlds, and certainly, since the sustainability plan passed, what has it been, 2 years, year and a half?
Yes, 2018.
2018, okay. I've been curious what's going on. I know, folks have been working on it, and it's good to kind of bring it up to the surface and hear about it. So I appreciate that. So look forward to talking to you a little bit about when we do that and how. And I think to Councilor Villarreal's point, and Councilor Lindell said during the budget hearings, hopefully our budget situation improves and we're looking at opportunities, and certainly some of what's been talked about tonight would be an opportunity if we could fill, if our revenues would allow us to fill some of these positions and continue to do this work. So this is a good example of a place with lots of opportunity if our budget revenues improve. So, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. If that's all, we'll move on. I got to go back to my agenda over here. I think we do matter. Here we go. Matters from the staff. Jennifer, did you have anything to share with us?
I do not tonight.
All right. Matters from the committee. Okay. Matters from the chair. I would just say that our next meeting is Wednesday, August 19th And we'll be getting out an agenda on that very shortly. And thank you all for being here tonight and hearing the presentation and interacting with everybody from Environmental Services. So thank you.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.